Garden. You are here at Coco Mire. I was told that some persons is their first time here on Virgin Garden and first time here at Coco Mire. So we're here with a facility called Town Bay. If you were here back in the olden days, this was the original place where you would build boats and where you would come into Virgin Garden. It was the first dock was right here to my left before they built the other dock on the other side. On my right is the Little Fort National Park. It's an old Spanish fort used to protect this harbor. Next to us are the Tower Rocks National Parks also. The two biggest rocks up there, they have names. They're called Sub and Tobias. Historically, these were navigational points. If you're coming to Virgin Garden in the olden days before electricity, you use those two boulders to navigate the reefs to get to where we are now. So you are in a very historical area, historical part of Virgin Garden. We are here today to celebrate one of the radiant daughters of the soil, Dame Janice Pereira, who hails from Virgin Garden. And I say it unapologetically. She has risen to greatness through hard work and dedication, merit, not by favor. So it's a signal to all of you that with hard work and dedication, no matter where you've come from, you can rise to greatness with hard work and dedication. Engage her today. Ask as many questions as you could, because I asked her one last night. And I asked her, Dame, how did you get to the Privy Council? It was a very, very intriguing answer that she gave me. It's strictly merit. So I want you to enjoy the day, enjoy Virgin Garden, and have fun. Thank you.
Honourable Pereira is. I had more than a privilege of traveling all the way to Singapore this year. And you know, Singapore, it's like a 14-hour flight to Hong Kong and then I think it was another 3-hour flight to Beijing, another 3-hour train ride to Shanghai, and then another 5-hour flight to Singapore, right? Get into this room of all types of who's who in Singapore technology for fintech and virtual assets. And they're going on and on about how they're trying to implement the electronic government systems. And then they said, BVI, yes, we are familiar with Honourable Pereira. She implemented the electronic system for the Eastern Caribbean courts, first of its kind, so that you can just scan court documents, not having to fly them physically from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Because she said, no, the gentleman said, she said, whatever you do, do it. I want it electronic, and I want this system to work. It's the first of its kind, and we're so proud. And whatever, since this system that Honorable Pereira has implemented, all other islands are now copying and going on board with becoming fully electronic. So I just wanted to give her a round of applause for leading the way in a world of technology when we are tired of paper. We are tired of killing the trees.
Yes, we need to save the trees.
Exactly. We still were electronically savvy. So she is definitely one of those persons who are electronically savvy. Okay? And that's why the virtual exhibition would have only been fitting to be virtual with the QR code. We'd like to thank Kicking It for that. So then let's go on to our next question.
Okay, let's see what we have here. Up.
You got two? Got one. All right. So the question is there a quote or mantra that you live by? Something that you remind yourself of during tough times or when celebrating big wins?
I think what I do in terms of a mantra is I've always strived to be the best that you can be at what you do. And if a challenge comes, find the way to resolve that challenge because it makes us stronger. It makes us stronger.
So you just be the best.
Be the best.
And overcome whatever challenge.
And seek to find ways to overcome the challenges.
So challenges don't intimidate you at all?
Not really. Nothing is worth having without a challenge.
Put me under your wing. Put me there and keep me there. Because I think for young persons too, there's so much happening now, I find, at the same time. Yeah. And I think persons would like advice on how to navigate through challenges. So you're just saying to bring it.
Yes, because it's the life you know. Mm-hmm. And I think as, young persons, there's a whole lot more, I think, there now than perhaps what I would have been navigating at that young age. But still, there were challenges. There would be, of course, peer pressures. Mm-hmm. There would be other things, perhaps not electronic, like we have now with all the social media and everything that is sort of in your face. But importantly, as I said, there's nothing wrong with social media.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with communicating by social media. It is about what and how you communicate. The what is important. And I think it is critical to understand that what you post is there
forever.
What photos you post, whatever, it is there forever. So I view social media as a really good form, a revolution. Mm-hmm. But I think it is us who should be, in terms of our conduct or behavior or use, to do it responsibly. Okay. Knowing that whatever you put out there will be out there. I know for a fact that one of the things employers do.
Oh, they check your
check.
socials.
And when you think they cannot check, they do check. Whatever your social media platforms, whatever postings you may have placed, as a means of really helping them to assess you as a candidate. So, it is really critical to focus, to remember what you are seeking to achieve, what your goal is in life, and to work towards it. I also say, don't give in to peer pressure. Be you. Be independent. Be unapologetically so. Be your own person and simply keep focused on the goal that you have set for yourself in life.
All right. Do you have a favorite dish that you enjoy? Whether it's something from your childhood or current favorite. And are you a cook or do you prefer someone else to handle the kitchen for you?
Okay, so that's a sort of what? Two-part question?
A two-part.
So the first part, favorite meal.
Favorite dish.
Or favorite dish. Well, I am a Virgin Gordian.
Let me hear it.
I am a Virgin Gordian to the bone. To the bone. And I suppose a Virgin Islander to the bone. So what is our normal favorite dish?
What is it?
What is our normal favorite dish?
I'm hearing fungi and fish.
Fungi and fish. What about a really good red pea soup and pigtails?
I'm so sorry.
Can you get
Y'all didn't
better
jump up
than
for me?
that?
They didn't jump up. But let me tell you, you are true Virgin Gordian.
That's correct.
So wait, so you like it with pigtail or
Pigtails, pigtails, red pea soup.
Uh-huh.
I have to have my sugar in there.
All right. What about milk?
Yes, and milk.
I'm so sorry. So no one else shares the same sentiment? They like fish and fungi? So you don't like pea soup? The milk and sugar? With pigtail? Okay. You from VG? Okay, well, that's a plus. We have other people on our side, yes. So do you like to cook it or you prefer someone else to handle that?
Unfortunately, I didn't learn the real art of cooking it. So I depend on my sisters to cook me, or when my mother was alive,
She was
she was the one. But there are some dishes I can cook.
So tell me, what's your favorite? What's your handle?
So my favorite dish that I handle would be, usually I love salmon. So a nice grilled salmon with capers and onions and all the works and so on, with, a little dash of olive oil.
Okay.
Some sauteed potatoes and carrots and cabbage. That's love.
Your dish.
And then, of course, on a Sunday, we would normally, we've always been into this thing where Sunday is special. You have to have your special lunch on a Sunday.
Right.
So I love to do a Cornish hen stuffed. My husband does the baked macaroni pie because he's the meanest and best at it. And we would have a coleslaw, corn on the cob. He calls it corn on the cob, or la crescida, which was my mother, because I showed him how my mother prepared corn on the cob.
Tell us how. Let me hear this recipe.
I cannot give out that secret.
But you boil it.
Yes,
in
you
something.
boil it with a little dash of salt.
Uh-huh.
You add a little touch of sugar. She said it was to bring out the natural sweetness of the corn.
That's enough. I know where it's headed.
Okay.
The recipe's a VGO, maybe. Maybe
Yes.
a Virgin Islander own, because I love a corn from a lot of places, all throughout the territory. So, all right. So let's get busy with another question.
Okay.
So it says, is there a book or movie that has stuck with you over the years? Something that's either shaped your outlook on life or just brings joy every time you read it or watch it? A book or movie?
Okay, so let me think about many books. I've certainly loved books written and poems written by Maya Angelou.
Okay.
I have also just like various literature books, with, whether it's teaching you about history. I have read books from Caribbean authors as well, to sort of get a sense in terms of what they're writing about in terms of culture.
What about any movies?
Movies.
Like, after a hard day or weekend, I find myself, I have a comfort movie or like a handful of comfort movies. Like, I just put them on and they play. I don't really have to watch it. Do you have like a comfort movie or series?
My goodness, a comfort series. Well, interestingly, I started just about 2 weeks ago watching this series called Dr. Odyssey. I don't know whether
I think I
anyone
heard
has
that
been
one.
looking, but
Yes.
it's sort of a bit funny, but with some seriousness, a little bit of science, a bit of medicine, a bit of everything. So I really sort of enjoy that.
Okay.
I also loved another series called Fire Country, with firefighters and
I think I
their
saw that
lives
one,
and
yes.
family. Movies. A movie I think I watched at least about 2 or 3 times. Well, of course, everybody, I don't know. I think most persons watched the Titanic many times. I've
a long
watched the
one.
Titanic. And there was also another movie called by Kevin Costner, Dances with Wolves.
Oh.
Yes.
That's a little.
That's a long
Yeah.
a while ago.
That's a
But
little over.
anyway, it was a very, I watched it for the simple, the messages in there
Okay.
about persons coming, or another Europeans coming to America and taking parts of America and meeting the native Indians,
Okay.
and how they sort of they were untrusting of each other, and how they began to learn, well, they can communicate, and that it wasn't necessarily that each needed to fight and have a war with each other. And what it said, and what I took away from it, was so many conflicts, and you see it up to today, they are caused by fear. Fear of another person, fear of another ethnicity, fear of just another culture. And we see that just rolling through up to today. So my looking at that is always to go back to those things that changed the world, and also the very same things that are still here, that movie was seeking to portray, in terms of races and culture, and how we miss so much because we don't allow ourselves to understand and appreciate another person's culture.
That's a jam-packed movie there.
It is.
Ooh. So, I mean, you touched on the topic of fear. For the persons that are here today, and they may have goals in life, and they see someone like you from the Virgin Islands, breaking down barriers, overcoming hurdles, zooming past speed bumps to be recognized for your achievements, what do you say to the young people here that may be a little fearful to go out and try to accomplish their dreams and goals?
Well, I think my first bit of advice is that if you allow fear to overcome you, you're not going to get very far. That's a fact. Life, in terms of success or those things you're aiming for, they come with risks, and you have to be willing to take risks. Not everything is going to be known. Not everything you're going to be able to, as it were, put in a nice little packet and think that this is all that there is. You have to be willing to take those chances, to take those opportunities, and know that in the end, you are seeking to get to your goal.
So never mind the noise.
Never mind the noise.
But there's a lot of
Ignore the
noise out there.
Oh, another favorite poem I loved was the Desiderata. I'm sure that all of you would have heard of the Desiderata. Have you?
No. Give us a snippet. Give us a snippet while we
Okay,
wrap
so
up.
it's the Desiderata. It's a very famous poem. And I can't recall all of the words, but it basically starts by saying, "Go placidly amidst the noise and haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. Be interested in your own career. Listen even to the dull and ignorant, for they too have their story." So those are just some of the gems in that poem. And it was, well, I used to have this Desiderata stuck on my wall forever, simply to remind myself and to remind also that sometimes there's so much noise around you, and you have to, as it were, tune out the noise. Tune out the noise, because that's all it is, noise. And you know what they say about noisy people? Empty vessels make the most noise. And there are times when I have said that. And I've also maintained that it is okay to criticize. Nothing is wrong with criticizing. But for goodness sake, propose a solution to what you're criticizing. Because if you cannot do that, then why are you criticizing? So that is my position. Do not criticize unless you can come up and provide a solution to the problem that you're complaining about. So, in essence, get engaged, and don't sit on the sidelines and simply complain about everything and thinking it all ought to fall somewhere in your lap. And it's always someone else's fault or someone else to do something. I believe really firmly in looking at yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror. And I think one of the most courageous things is to be able to look at yourself, do an introspection, and really ask yourself whether you are the person and whether you are on a course where you would like to be. I think it is so very important. It is also important, I think, to recognize that we make mistakes, and there's nothing wrong with making mistakes. Absolutely nothing. It's about what you learn from those mistakes. Or as I think a good old senior counsel one day said, we all fall down. But that is not what matters. It's about how you rise and get up. So remember that.
Right. Thank you so much for that. Did you all hear that at the end? We all fall down. We all make mistakes. And that's natural. But it's how we recover. It's how we get up and continue going and stay steadfast on our path, regardless of the noise, regardless of the challenges, regardless of the hurdles. I'm pretty sure, Honorable Pereira, if you listen to anyone who told you, no, you shouldn't go and do that. No, how dare you go and be the head of the Eastern Caribbean Court? No. Now, Privy Council, no. Tell them no. Tell them you can't make it. Tell them you're retired. where would we be? No one would be talking about how a BVI lander is where she is today, right? So now we've come to the close of this segment.
Yes.
I want to thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cheers, Honourable Pereira, to your journey, your accomplishments, your achievements, and for inspiring all us young folks in that we have no limits. So cheers to limitless possibilities.
We know that where you choose to bank matters, and it is your vote on what your funds do in strengthening our community. As your official Bank of Paradise, we invest and support the lifeblood of our economy by helping in the realization of personal goals for homeownership, education, and entrepreneurial visions, which support small businesses. We make it our place to connect with persons and worthy causes, and we have been doing so for more than 30 years. Where your money goes and what your dollars empower are your choice. And we thank you for choosing us, a bank that gives where it matters the most, for you, for our community, and a happier tomorrow. The National Bank of the Virgin Islands.